I must confess that Nashville Hot Chicken is one of my guilty pleasures. I'm embarrassed to admit how many times I've ordered it in the past month. So today, we're taking this American classic and infusing it with the vibrant flavors of India. Get ready for crispy, juicy chicken with a kick you won't forget. Let's begin. Hi, I'm Roshni. If you're new here, welcome to the channel. Originally from India, I'm now a private chef in Vegas. Let's get cooking. This is a very simple recipe with a few ingredients. The first thing we're going to do is make the sauce to dip our Nashville hot fried chicken into. Then we're going to make the spice mix for the fiery oil that goes on top of the deep fried Nashville hot tenders. And lastly, we're going to deep fry the chicken and then it's time to taste. The sauce only has 3 ingredients. What we're trying to do is make the sauce slightly sweeter so it contrasts and balances the hot flavor of the chicken. I'm trying to replicate one of our favorite hot chicken places called Dave's Hot Chicken sauces. So let's see how we do. I'm adding Kewpie mayo here, which is Japanese mayo. If you don't have it, just use regular mayo. Okay, the next thing I'm going to add is some hot sauce. This isn't the hottest hot sauce that I have, but trust me, we'll use the hottest one we have later on. Then we are adding some honey. Let's mix it all together. Let's give this a taste. Okay. This can use a little bit more mayo, so I'm gonna add some more. Pretty good. Let's make the spice mix. Now this spice mix is what gives Nashville Hot Chicken its characteristic flavor. Now what we're going to do is make the dry spice mix right now, but after we are done frying the chicken, we're going to pour some hot oil into this mix and that'll create this beautiful flavorful paste which we can then brush on to our fried chicken to make it Nashville Hot Fried Chicken. This is where I've added my Indian flair and added some spices that I think work really well with chicken. Let's start with the heat. So this is some hot red chili powder, and I know it looks like a lot, but this is hot fried chicken after all. So let's add that in. Here I have some Kashmiri red chili powder, which is not as hot, but it adds that chili flavor as well as a vibrant red color. Let's add that in. This is some brown sugar that I've whizzed up in my spice grinder. The reason for that is because there were still chunks of brown sugar after I added the hot oil and brushed it onto the finished chicken. So I wanted to make sure it was a fine powder. Now, I've never ground up brown sugar before, and I don't know why it's white in color. Let's add it in. Okay, a very familiar ingredient in this recipe, garlic powder. Now let's get on to some of the spices. We have a little bit of coriander powder and some roasted cumin powder here in equal quantities, and I'm going to add them in. They add this beautiful, grassy, herbal flavor to chicken that I absolutely love. The next thing I have here is chaat masala. Now this has a variety of different ingredients in it, but the main ingredient is dry mango powder, which gives it a nice tang. And it also has some black salt in it, which adds some umami flavor. I love the combination of chaat masala with the sweetness of the sauce. It's perfect. And lastly, we're going to add some salt. Let's give this a quick whisk. Okay, this is nicely mixed in. Let's set this aside and get on with the chicken. Okay, let's prepare the flour and the buttermilk for our chicken. I have about a cup of all-purpose flour here, and I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of the hot red chili powder that we already used in the spice mix, because why not make it hotter? Then we're going to add some salt into the flour as well. This is an important tip when dredging anything or deep frying anything or creating a batter. Make sure you add salt to the batter because obviously you want the coating to be seasoned as well as the inside, right? Let's give it a quick mix. Here we have about a cup of buttermilk, and I'm going to add some of this hot sauce into this. The last one we used wasn't as spicy, but this one is made of ghost peppers, so I'm sure it packs a punch. Let's add it in. Let's mix this up nicely. So I have the buttermilk and the hot sauce, and I'm gonna add in an egg. So I have some chicken thighs here that I've cut up into tender-like pieces. Of course, you can use pre-cut up tenders. I just love using chicken thighs because they have a lot more flavor and they stay juicy even when you deep fry them. What I've done to these tenders is added salt and pepper to them, and I've marinated it overnight. Now, this is an important step because it allows the salt to penetrate into the center of chicken. You can marinate it for 4 hours and that'll still be enough, but I would recommend that you marinate it overnight for the best flavor. This is a classic fried chicken batter. So the first thing I'm gonna do is dip this chicken into the flour, then into the buttermilk, and back into the flour. Dust off the excess. Use the other hand as your wet hand. Get the excess off, back into the flour. Make sure you get really nice coverage. Press the flour onto the chicken to make sure it sticks. Then we're gonna lay it out on this wire rack. We're gonna repeat the same thing with the other tenders. You're gonna get these clumps of flour after you've dredged 1 or 2 pieces, and that's great because that adds a lot more crunch to your chicken. All right, I have the oil at about 325 degrees and I'm going to fry these tenders for about 5 minutes. And then I'm going to increase the temperature of the oil to about 375 and fry them for another 30 to 60 seconds just to make the coating extra crispy. Let's begin. Be very careful and make sure you're doing this in a safe way. I'm going to fry 3 at a time just so I don't overcrowd this pan. Gently lay it away. Check the oil temperature while it's frying to make sure it stays at 325 because the temperature does drop when you add the food into the hot oil. Believe it or not, only 10% of you watching are subscribed to my channel. So please subscribe and share it with your friends and family. Okay, it's been about 5 minutes. I'm going to take these chicken pieces out. You can see that the chicken pieces aren't golden, and that's fine. We just want to set the coating at this stage, and they'll become golden in the final fry. Before you put in the next batch, measure the temperature of the oil and make sure that it's at 325, and mine is, so I'm going to add in the rest of the chicken pieces. Okay, it's been about 5 minutes on the second batch, and so I'm going to take those out of the hot oil. Let's bring the temperature of this oil up to 375 degrees, and then we're going to do the second fry for this chicken. Note that this chicken is 90% cooked, so we don't need to fry it for very long. We don't want to make the chicken dry. We're just going to fry it for about a minute till we get that golden color, and then we're going to take them out. The oil is at 375. Let's add these in. Okay, these are ready to be taken out. Look at how beautifully golden these are. Let's fry up our second batch. But before that, let's make sure that the oil is still at 375. Okay, so while the oil is hot, let's make the spicy oil that we're going to drizzle all over the chicken. I'm going to take about half a cup of hot oil, and then I'm gonna add it to the spice mix that we made earlier and give it a really good stir. Wow, this smells spicy. Okay, we're done with the spicy oil. The spicy oil is ready. Okay, we have our spicy chili oil and we have our fried chicken. Let's brush this onto the chicken. We're gonna cover all of these on one side, flip them over and cover the other side. Make sure that the oil is still warm because we want these to stay crispy. Okay, I'm gonna flip these over now. All right, we're ready to taste. I can smell the spice from afar. So honestly, as excited as I am, I'm also a little bit nervous. Let's get some of the sauce. This is really, really good. I would say, the spice is building at the back of my throat. I would say on a scale of 0 to 10, this is probably a 7 on 10 when it comes to spice level. Really good. The coating is still crispy, although this has been sitting around for about 10 minutes now, and I can taste all the different nuances of the spices that I added. It's got a nice kick, as well as some sweetness from the sauce, as well as the brown sugar we added. Really delicious.
All right, once again, it's my turn to try Roshni's food. Let's take this chicken, give it a dunkaroo, if you will. Okay, here we go. Cheers. Right, so this is fantastic. The chicken is crispy, crunchy outside, juicy on the inside. It has that Nashville Hot Chicken taste and a little something else that might be that Indian spice coming together to really make it its own kind of thing here. Definitely pair it with the sauce. Needs the sauce to balance out. Let's go in for one more taste. Can't just one bite. Nobody knows the rules. Right, so it is a little spicy. Like Roshni said, yeah, maybe 7 out of 10. Not the spiciest thing in the world, but can't ignore that heat right there. I think one thing that Roshni did, we tested this a couple days ago. There were kind of clumps of sugar, and by grinding the brown sugar up, it's nice and evenly distributed. And the sweetness really helps balance everything out with the spice and different spices going on. Give this a shot, you won't regret it.
If you loved this recipe, you're going to love my take on the best vegetarian burger at McDonald's India. I'll link it for you here.